question. Since before your sun burned hot in space, and before your race was born, I have awaited a question.
Alrighty then, let's have a look at the 1/3 scale Lucy. Lucy, you crazy redhead. Oh, no, not that one. Lucy from Fallout, the Amazon TV series. First of all, here is the head, the untouched head. Again, 1/3 scale. Okay, this is a really good print. There are a couple of places where there's some gonna need some cleanup, but it's really not bad at all. Really good print. And I think I worked with Meta Artifacts on several figures, and this one he did totally himself, and I think he did a fantastic job on the face. I think he really captured her in kind of a tired, disgusted, quizzical look. Kind of a plain, like, oh God, I'm so exhausted. Anyway, this is Lucy's head. I'm going to be showing the entire figure, sections at a time. Now, this was sectioned differently by Meta Artifacts, but at this scale, I had to use the full size figure, rescale it, or the fully assembled figure, rescale it, and then my friend cut it up into pieces and he printed it for me. I couldn't get to this one. My printer was down at the time, and or my fire alarm kept going off, and my apartment manager, was not happy that my FDM printer was setting off the fire alarm. So I had to stop printing. Anyway, my buddy Josh helped me out, and I really appreciate it. Now, let's have a look at some more of the parts of the 1/3 scale Lucy. Okay, so here is Lucy's legs. Now, again, this had to be sectioned several times to be able to print at 1/3 scale. Now, this is FDM, obviously. There are a couple of pieces that I glued together already. This was sectioned here, so I had to glue that together. I had to glue these two pieces together. So I'm going to be shooting this whole thing with several coats of primer. Let that fully set up and cure. Then I'm going to go over each one of these seams with some 3M spot putty, and then shoot it all with a base coat. The boots will obviously be black, and we'll go from there. I want to get exactly the right colors for the suit. I really want to dress this suit up. I want to make it look good and then distress it. Isn't that stupid? Nah, it's part of the process, I guess. I'm probably going to cut this off. I'm going to scratch build the whole rest of the diorama. I'm going to make it relatively extravagant. At least that's my plan. So these are the boots. Now I'm going to warn you in advance before I show any more of the model. She is nude from the chest, on the chest. Her chest is nude. I have a plan to make her look like she's got a skin-tight t-shirt, but I needed the nude version to be able to do it. I'll explain that later. So be warned, if female nudity offends you, don't go any further. All right, let's pull up some more parts. Okay, so here's Lucy's waist / lower torso and hips. As you can see, this part is not glued on. I'm going to go ahead and glue that on here in a minute. I've obviously got a seam I'm going to need to clean up, yet another seam from the model being sectioned before print. Oopsie. Yeah, I'm having fun. The one-handed video guy. One hand holds the camera, one hand moves the parts around. Be flexible, adapt, overcome, right? You gotta do what you gotta do, mister. Alrighty then. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the upper chestal area and some other parts. Beware, there is plastic female figure nudity on the horizon. Warning, danger, Will Robinson, danger, danger. Be right back. Okay, so as you see here, you've got the upper chestal area and the arms. I will be doing partial assembly to show. Actually, I'll show what she looks like all together. But I'm not going to be gluing everything all together. So, let me go ahead and put some of these pieces together. I may glue a couple of these together, and then I'll show what the hands and the arms look like. Yeah, here's the gun, 10 millimeter with her hand. I may have this printed up in 8 or 12K resin just to smooth it out. It's got some patterning, and it looks like it's got really thin walls, so we shall see. I'll see what it looks like after primer. But I'm going to detail the heck out of this and the background. Nudity alert, nudity alert, nudity alert. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Here comes female plastic figure nudity. Oh, God. And there is Lucy. I think that skin tight t-shirts thing's not going to work. I just realized that the shoulder strap for her backpack, etc., sleeping bag, sleeping roll, what have you, that's not going to work. Okay, so much for that. All right, let me go ahead and put her legs on, show you what her lower torso looks like with the legs, and then I'll put most of her together and set her up so we can get a good look at what she looks like all together. Okay, so here is the almost complete 1/3 scale Lucy from Fallout. I wanted to show this. Okay, it's got a really cool and accurate Pip-Boy. So I'm going to be cutting that section out where the screen is and coming up with a really cool printed transparency. I would put a little, what do you call it? One of those little photo keychains that does slideshows in there, and then run several of the Pip-Boy screens, one right after the other, with sound effects. But I think I'm just going to do this one as a static statue. I've done enough soundboards and electronics recently, which I will be showing very soon. So there's Lucy's arm with her arm cocked back, her wrist bent over, and her hand on the brick wall that isn't there. And there's the hand with the gun. So essentially for now, this is the whole model. I will be having other parts of it printed, as in the bomb and various other items that were part of the original base. All right, so there you are, 1/3 scale Lucy from Fallout, the Amazon television show. Drop me a line, tell me what you think. Next time you see this, it will be coated in primer, and then I will start sanding it and cleaning up some of these seams. Here are the, excuse me, here are the left and right legs and the left and right hand and arm sections of the 1/3 scale Art Deco 7 of 9. Now, as you can see as I pull in, there's a lot of faceting. As I said in a previous video, the meshes weren't nearly as high poly 10, 15 years ago when I created this mesh as they are today. This was the highest poly count available at the time, unless you wanted to pay extra. But even for the time, there was plenty of articulation for posing and plenty of detail. True, there are spots I'm going to have to clean up, but all in all, you can see the detail in the hand. It's just going to take a little, again, cleanup. So I'm going to sand on these for a while I watch TV. Then I'm going to show them again. Then I'm going to shoot them with a couple coats of primer. Be right back. So, I've got 2 of the 4 parts cleaned up for now, as far as I'm going to go, because this is a series of successive approximations. There's additions and then subtractions. This is more or less a form of sculpting. You fill it up with primer, you let it cure, you sand it and scrape it. As you can see here, I haven't just sanded. I've been using this stainless steel knife, special purpose for scraping before sanding. So I scrape the highest parts, then I sand. That takes a lot of time out of it. Now I'll finish these other 2 up. I'll shoot both of these, all 4 parts, with 2-3 coats of gray primer. Let it fully cure for about a week. Then I'll go back over everything one more time. And really, I mean, literally, I'm more or less kind of halfway sculpting it, other than what I did as far as 3D sculpting in the computer. So it's hands-on as much as it is CG. To get it right, you got to take a little time and use a little finesse. And you have to have a modicum of skill. There you go. Alrighty then, there you go. There's some cleaned up appendages. Now, in the next video installment, we will see what it looks like with a fresh coat of primer compared to what it looked like originally and during the workmanship of one Joseph, Admiral James B. Quirk. All right, this is the upper portion of the 1/3 Nuka girl. Everything looks good, but some orange peel here at the breast. Plus, I've got some ridges here. This is part of the printing process. And over here, I'm going to have to deal with that. That's just a little bit of putty. Here, more putty. More orange peel. Might have to scrape and sand that. Gonna have to cut and scrape that. Same here. Here. But for the most part, what I'm going to do first is sand everything and then scrape the rough areas and shoot with another coat of flat just to see what needs to be done after that. Got a really good seam there I'm going to have to clean up. Oh well, such is life. Now let's have a look at the head. Now here's the head. Obviously it's got a couple of issues, but that's not too bad. I can sand everything down, scrape and retain the body lines of the face. Get up in there, do some more scraping. I'm going to show you. I'm going to use a surgeon scalpel, and I'll show you how to do that when I get to that point. But first I need to do some sanding, and I need to tape off the eyebrows because I want to clean those up. I've got some ridges over here Gotta do some fine sanding and cutting, some filing. Actually, not bad, really. This is easy stuff. And I'll show you as I move along. Alrighty, well, here is the lower half or so of the 1/3 scale Nuka girl. Now this is all preparatory. I needed to see kind of what it looked like. I'm going to be doing a lot of sanding, but I wanted to see everything in the colors that it's going to be with several coats of flat white and or primer, so I can look at the areas that need the most work. Now I'm going to be doing some sanding on this and then making an adjustment on what needs to be done next. Then we'll start masking and taping, puttying, priming, and moving forward on the build. When this is all said and done, when this is all where I want it, I'll be painting with various different colors, such as skin tones, etc. But as it stands now, each part needs a little bit of work. The legs look the best. They're probably going to need the least amount of work. And the hips and back, lower back. I got some orange peel here. I'm going to have to scrape and sand that. Okay. Yeah, it's looking good so far, except for this one spot here. I can fix that. With a little bit of sanding and some putty, priming, painting, we're going to go back through several different variations of a theme, and it'll come together a little bit at a time. 1/3 Nuka-Cola girl. Then, as you see here, I've been masking all of these parts and setting them up to spray paint. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot everything with flat black after I finish cutting clear the masking tape from the areas where it doesn't need to be masked. Shoot everything with flat black, at least 1 or 2 coats. Then mask that off, the areas that I want to stay flat black. Shoot them with primer and then a flat white. I've got a really nice pearlescent paint I'm going to try to show in the near future, which acts as a great base coat to pearl up these refit / stargazer / other models.